Okay, we're on air, so welcome to Satsang. As you know, if you have any questions, you can pose them by just speaking them or by writing them in the chat box. So just talk a few minutes about the nature of experience. When you look at your experience, you will just gonna mute Holly. When you look at your experience, you will not find anything that is apart from you, apart at any distance from you. In fact, you're always experiencing your own intimacy, and there isn't any external reality to your experience. Your entire experience is real as your very self. Meaning your experience is, its reality is the knowingness of it. Without knowingness, without awareness, without that transparency, without the infinite invisible, without the screen, there are no images, there are no experiences without the formless screen of awareness. From the mind's perspective, it may seem as if what is real is what is perceived. But reality is not a changing reality. Whatever is real by its very nature is constant, is eternal, is not something that appears and disappears. Like in your night dreams, images, thoughts, perceptions, whatever you're experiencing, mind events, appear and disappear. Reality is what does not appear and disappear. And in our contemplation, in our life, we are looking for, we are inquiring into what is eternal. Because happiness, the happiness that depends on money or that depends on relationship or that depends on a certain situation, is not eternal, because when that situation changes, when the money runs out, when the value of the lira drops, and you find yourself penniless, then the happiness that was dependent on your fortune, your material fortune, is out the window. So in fact, in our life, in our experience, we are looking for what is eternal. We are looking for the happiness that does not come and go, the peace that does not come and go, which is reality. Reality is what does not come and go. In our understanding, our living understanding, our waking understanding to what is real, we will come upon the happiness that does not come and go. If you look in your experience, what does not come and go? If you ask yourself that question, you will come upon the screen of consciousness, the formless screen of the self. you will find that that is always there. That has no beginning and no end. It does not arise in time. It does not arise in space. Now, if you have any questions, you are welcome to post them, or you can write them in the chat box. The chat box is up on your upper left corner, or it may already be opened in on the right side of your screen. So I welcome your questions. In the meantime, I will read a question that was sent to me by Zoe. So hello, Zoe, you write, I will not be on the call today, but I will listen later. Could you talk more about discipline as related to spiritual practice? I heard Rupert Spira say that discipline strengthens the ego, the separate self. And I know that you have mentioned this as well. To approach the practice with love and interest and not as something prescribed. It is so interesting to have this concept blown apart. I have been trained in Vipassana meditation years ago to have to sit for 2 hours a day. And I even tried to not move the body, even when it is very uncomfortable. There was also the practice of not eating after lunchtime on 10-day retreats. I was so hungry, all I could think about was food. And yet, this has nothing to do with our true nature. Thank you, Zoe. Okay, interesting question, Zoe. You know, you probably already know that I come from the Zen tradition. I did, goodness, a few decades of Zen, Zazen, Zen sitting with Roshi Philip Kapleau, well, before him, Richard Clark, then Philip Kapleau, and later on I worked with Tony Packer. But for quite a few years, I was working in the Zen tradition. And as you know, the sessions, the retreats are very strict, severe. They're like a Zen style, retreats where you just sit and there is no moving. It's like 45-minute rounds. They start at 5:30 in the morning, goes on until 9 p.m. And of course, it's no talking, no moving, eyes down, and this whole tradition. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But the thing is, when I was doing this practice, I had a passion for that. I felt very drawn to sitting. It didn't matter to me, what the situation was. If it was like 30 minutes non-moving or an hour, it really didn't matter. I wanted to sit. I loved sitting, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to contemplate and to look at what's going on within. Now, of course, that's not always the case. Sometimes you come upon a tradition and you find yourself a tradition that is very strict and severe and very disciplined, but it's not resonating within you. But you feel that that is something that you must do in order to get enlightened. You need to do that in order to get enlightened. In that case, I would say that is not the path. If the path is a path of passion and love, and it takes you to discipline, like for example, if you love music or you love music and you want to learn how to play the piano, you might find that you will spend hours playing the solfège and repeating certain pieces until you get more adept at playing the piano. In this case, because you love what you are doing, you may play the piano for 4 or 5 hours without stopping, and it may not feel like it's a burden for you. On the other hand, if playing the piano is something that you feel that you need to do in order to be more accepted in society, or because maybe you're young. If you're young, parents sometimes they tell their children, or they force their children in a way to, then you will find that this sort of discipline is agonizing and is not helpful. In the inquiry into the self, I like to think of this inquiry as a fueled by our love. First, our interest in truth, and this interest grows and becomes a passion and love and passion for truth. When you are in love with truth, and it may arise for you to do a week of silent sitting without moving, you would do it. But it's not discipline in the sense of some external power or some mind power is being imposed on you. It's arising from your heart. It's arising from within you. So in my sharing, I don't encourage or discourage discipline. I speak in terms of what resonates for you. If within you there is a resonance for discipline, for waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock and sitting for a half hour or 1 hour or 10 minutes in the morning, and same thing at night in silence in a quiet place, then I would say that you would do it. You actually wouldn't ask anybody to do it because it's coming out from you. Now, sometimes you're not sure. You're looking for a certain practice. And so you may ask your teacher, or you may ask around you, what should I do? And you may get a prescription of following a certain discipline. If that case arises for you, then I would say that this is part of your path, and then you can you can experiment with that path and see if it grows on you, if the discipline that was recommended to you grows on you, if you're enjoying it. And if you're enjoying it, then you continue to do it. But if you find that by following somebody's recommendation, you are struggling and forcing yourself and thinking of a way out of it, then I would say you're wasting your time. You say that you heard Rupert say that the discipline strengthens the ego. It depends. The discipline can strengthen the ego if in cases where there isn't the love for what you're doing. If you are doing it because you feel that would make you a better meditator, then the meditator is the ego. It's an image, that very subtle image. It could be very spiritual image, but still, these images have very deep roots. So yes, in that case, I would say that it strengthens the ego. When I was in the Rochester Zen Center working with that tradition, the Rinzai Zen Buddhist tradition, I did it for quite many years. At some point in my life, I met Tony Packer, who was also a sort of a new teacher, the sort of next in line with Philip. Some of you may know that she moved away from the Zen tradition. She was much more disciplined and about Japanese Zen tradition. And when I met her, I felt an immediate resonance with working in this more open way. I wasn't looking for a way out. I wasn't looking to get free from the Rosh Zen Center. In fact, I was totally into it. But something resonated at a deeper level when I met her, and I found myself working with her. And she was much more relaxed and about the practice. So if you were sitting and you felt like getting up, you could very gracefully and carefully, get up and go. If you wanted to skip a sitting, you could skip a sitting. There was still silence was the practice there, but there was a lot more looseness about it, around it, and I have a leaning in that direction, because our true nature is already free, pristine, open, unencumbered. What we truly are is already free, it's already happy, it's already peaceful. It is happiness itself. It is peace itself. And in a way, it's not about seeking happiness or seeking peace. It's about resting into our true nature, resting as our true nature. And part of the resting involves noticing how we have a tendency to struggle. We have a tendency to seek. We have a tendency to argue. We have a tendency to judge others and ourselves. Just to noticing these tendencies and the unhappiness that we experience, and also that we create by having these argumentative tendencies, these judgmental tendencies. In noticing, there is a relaxation, because the noticing has an interest, not an interest to get rid of anything, because the interest to get rid has some personal ego in it. But the interest to just purely understand, to see, to perceive, to have clarity. Because there is stuff happening. There are thoughts, feelings, emotions happening. So it makes sense, since they're happening, to be there, to be open to them, to invite them to share with us their fullness. And if you look at emotions and feelings, they're made out of thoughts and bodily sensations. So we say yes to the thoughts. Okay, you're appearing. The thought, I am unworthy, may appear. Okay, and the sensation, the bodily sensation of maybe internal depression may appear. So we say yes to that, but we don't say yes to that as a victim. We say yes to that as presence. We say yes to that as consciousness. We say yes to that as the welcoming beingness. So this sort of welcoming that does not come from a sense of persecution or being victimized comes from welcoming itself. It comes from our true nature, which is a welcoming true nature. So already within us, there is that potential. The potential to be present, to be presence, to the potential to recognize the presence and the transparency that we are, transparency of consciousness, the transparency of the self, the transparency of awareness. That is already there within us, that potential of recognition. So we invite this recognition, and we invite resting as that. Resting as the recognition of our presence, universal presence, is a relaxation and does not have a personal interest to fix anything or to attain anything or to overcome anything. Because this conditioning to overcome, to fix, to argue, to win or lose, this tendency is exhausting. While resting as being doesn't have an agenda. It's agendaless, it's free of any agenda. It's the resting itself is its own fulfillment. So there is a practice of resting which doesn't require particular discipline. It requires getting a sense of what we're talking about and looking at that place within ourself that is problem-free, that is already at peace. So we don't just look at the problems, at the thoughts, at the feelings. We look at the space in which all of that arises. Because everything that arises, whatever shape, size, or amplitude it has, arises in the formless presence, in the aware emptiness of being. So, turning our attention to presence, you could say it's a form of practice, but it's not with effort. It's more with an interest, a sort of a curiosity, but not a superficial curiosity, an interest in comprehending what is being pointed to. And we have that ability to comprehend what is being talked about because we are this presence. And presence is self-aware. It's an aware presence. And this presence is made out of being and aware, being awareness. So already, being awareness is our true nature. It's already there in its vibrancy. We just need to look in that direction rather than, the thoughts about me and about others, about the world, about the future or the past. Okay, Zoe, I'm not sure where I went with your question, but
Suzanne.
Hello,
Mark.
Suzanne. Hello, Suzanne.
I have a question that kind of feels like it pertains to what you were just speaking to.
Yes.
Holding, sitting, resting in presence. But it feels to me there is also a movement. It's not static. It's not, and my life, what's coming through my life is moving, but it's also extremely challenging. the situational. You know, I'm in an area where there's burn. People lost their homes, and a lot of people are trying to overcome that and rebuild. And so I'm caught in that situation because I was trying to also build. And I have a window of opportunity, and it feels like just situational, the way the movement of everything is going, that I'm being swept aside or away or something. And so to sit with that, and I feel like I want to be proactive, and I'm not certain how. You know,
Yes.
I want to stay in my stillness. I want to stay grounded, but the whole swirling around me seems to be have a momentum that I'm caught up in, and it's causing me some personal angst and maybe a loss of a situation that was perhaps available to me before other people were affected.
Yes, yes.
And so I'm just kind of saying, I guess what my question is how does one deal with this? There's an outwardly movement of presence too, you know, as well as a inward being with presence.
Yes. Yes.
Community.
Yeah.
Speaker.
You know, Suzanne, whatever is unfolding in your life is unfolding just as it should be, just as it is meant to be for you. Of course, we prefer, it's normal, we prefer things to be smooth and to work in the way that we expect them or we hope for them to be. We all do that. You know, this is part of how we are maybe wired. When we cook a meal, we hope and expect that the meal will be cooked correctly, will come out tasteful, aromatic. But as we all know, the way life appears to us, it presents itself in so many different ways, and often or occasionally, depending on each one of us, it appears not at all as we had hoped or we had planned, or the path may be quite smooth and then it becomes rocky unexpectedly. It's like, what happened? And from a different perspective, this life is not about this life. This life is about beyond this life. This life is about not what you experience, not what you perceive, but about awakening to the revelation, to the treasure, to the wholeness of being, which is not what you perceive, which is not what you experience. Now, as we are journeying in our inquiry into truth, into the self, we get more and more understanding about how we are mistakenly living, how we are living with in a mistaken way, with a mistaken assumptions, with mistaken beliefs. And these beliefs, these structures, they start to correct themselves. If you can please make sure that you're muting they start to correct themselves, and there is more and more harmony that arises in your life. And then you will find your life to be magically harmonious, that effortlessly, or with very little effort or no effort, life will start to adjust itself in a way that is very happy for you. Now, if you are experiencing in your life some disappointments and some disillusion, you can be with it in various ways. You can be with it in experiencing the feelings and the emotions of disappointment, or being deceived, or being victimized by nature or whatever. Or you could be with it in a way that is embracing whatever is arising and embracing the peace that is available in the midst of whatever is arising. Because if we're just accepting the suffering, it's pretty miserable, because I'm suffering and I'm saying, okay, yes, okay, I accept the suffering, and there isn't that the experience that we're having is not being contemplated from a place of peace. It may be contemplated from a place of resignation, or it may be contemplated from a place that's hoping for it to change, which in both cases are not peaceful. And sometimes, maybe even oftentimes in our life, there are situations that arise for us that we don't understand, that we can think about and try to figure them out, but we cannot figure them out. And yet we're living them. And we cannot pull ourselves out of them. And in a way, we even don't want to pull ourselves out of them. We may have already some investment in what's happening, even though it may be painful and difficult to bear. And even after the fact, even when the situation may be completed, may be finished, we may still not have an understanding at the mind level. But, you know, when you want to cook a meal, you have to put it on the fire. When you want to soften a piece of iron, the metalsmith, they heat up the piece of metal in the fire. There is something to that that is to be understood. Now, we could say, well, but that just sounds like suffering. And in a way, it is. But the suffering, we ask ourselves, why are we suffering? Because we know that we are being disappointed. Things aren't working out the way we want to. And it doesn't make us feel happy. Why? We ask ourselves why. In this question, there is the mind that wants to know an answer. And if the question is just at the mind level that wants to know an answer, you will not get any answer, because the mind keeps just jumping and tripping. It is not pure. It is already conditioned. It already has discrimination in it, not discrimination, it has prejudice in it. It wants this and it does not want that. But when you ask why or how come or what is happening from a deeper place of interest, from a place that wants to know the truth, is interested in reality, is interested in what is real, and not just in some answer to the particular question right now. When you pose that question, it goes to a deeper place. So just a couple of words about suffering. Whenever we move away from what we love, we suffer. Whenever we stay with what we love, we suffer. We don't suffer. Now, the question is, what is it that we love? If we love an object, if we love an experience, and we stay with that experience, we are happy. But this experience, as all experiences, they change. The economy changes. The politics change. The health changes. Your relationships change with your family, with your coworkers, etc. So if you are loving something that is changing, you are continuously on the run, because that thing that you love changes, and so your love has to always be running after it. But when you love that is unchanging, that is changeless, that is eternal, then your running stops. You're seeking, your sense of separation from your loved one stops. And in a way, all this sharing is about recognizing the true love. And the true love is not a love for any experience, for any situation, for any form, for any situation. It is love for love itself. You love truth. You love reality. You love being. But when we're thinking about it, we say, what is he talking about? What are we talking about? So in order to get a sense of that, you need to understand that the love that you seek is already what you are. What you are seeking is already what you are. And stay with that, contemplate that. What am I truly? What is it that I am that is the peace, that is the end game? And in your life, until you come to this peace that has no cause, in your life, when you notice your mind spinning about, oh, what's happening to me, notice that the mind always mistakes you to be a body mind. The mind only operates in the form and mistakes you to be a woman, a man, a person born in time and space. If you are a woman, what is it that knows that? If you are a person, what is it that knows that? These are questions that the mind cannot answer. They can only be answered in the depth of the silence, the depth of your stillness. So what the mind will do, will try to distract you. The mind will say, well, wait a minute. No, I need to, go buy this and that. I need to go fix this. It will take you somewhere else. So we were talking about discipline before. Maybe this is where you can, because the mind will tell you, get up and do something else, maybe. So maybe if it speaks to you, you can stay with this question without moving for like a few minutes. Asking yourself that question, what am I truly? If I'm a woman, what is it that knows that? If I'm a painter, what is it that knows that? Be watchful of the I that arises, because the mind presents the false I. The false I is something that you perceive, is an image, is a thought, or is a feeling. We think of ourselves as something. We think of ourselves as somebody who has problems or who's fortunate or unfortunate. But this somebody that we think of is not what we truly are. It is an appearance. It is a mentation. It is mind stuff. But we feel that that's what we are. The feelings are more convincing. But in fact, even the feelings are not what we are. And they don't know us. We know the feelings. We know the sensation. We perceive it. I perceive the feeling. Because if I did not perceive the feeling, there would be no feeling. So the feeling is something that is known by I meaning awareness. I know the feeling. Because I know the feeling, then I cannot be it. Like I know the oak tree, but I am not an oak tree. The I that knows the feeling, the I that knows the tree, is not the tree, is not the feeling. The feeling is a form, a subtle form, but it's still a form that arises on the screen being consciousness. The screen is formless. Right now, in this very moment, it is the formless screen of awareness that perceives this perception. The perception has a color and shape and size, etc., moves and so on, that you were referring to in your question, Suzanne, about that it's moving. The external world is moving. It's made out of movement. But in fact, these movements are just arising to you as awareness. Awareness does not move when the movements move, when the forms move. Awareness does not move. Like the mirror. When there is a mirror and there is a river that is being reflected in the mirror, the river moves. But in fact, the mirror is not moving. And the river is not separate from the mirror. The sensation or the perception, like this very perception right now, is not separate from yourself. It's intimate with yourself. So yes, the perception moves, right? Like this movement right now, it moves. But in fact, your perception of this movement is what this movement is. This movement is your perception of it, because without your perception of this movement, there would not be any movement. So your perception is the key to your movement, to that movement. And if you ask yourself, where is my perception? You will find it is at zero distance from you, that it is intimate with you, you as awareness. So that external world that is changing is in fact, in its reality, is your very experience, your very knowingness, your very beingness, which is unmoving. So this impression that we have that there is an external world that is moving is a mind impression. It's like in your night dreams. In your night dreams, you may be traveling to China or whatever, you're traveling. Maybe you even become a bird and you fly, or a fish and you're swimming. So there is this impression that there's all sorts of movement. You're visiting countries. You may even visit your neighbor in your sleep, or your old neighbor in another state, and you say hello to them and you have dinner with them. But in fact, all of that seems so real as a movement is not a movement at all, because the dreamer of these movements is unmoved. The dreamer of these dreams does not move, does not come and go. So everything that is unfolding for you, Suzanne, is meant for you and is calling you to find that does not move. Because what you're experiencing is all sorts of movements, changes, unexpected changes. Fires, and the financial situation in the economy changes, the stock market, we're experiencing all of that. But it is so we can come to our experiential knowingness of that does not move, that is never a victim, that is never lacking, that is never broken or burnt, or because everything else is movement. What does it matter if it's moving 1 foot, 10 feet? It's movement. In your night dream, you may wake up and you're just walking in your house. Or in your night dream, you may travel to China. That's a very different movement from just walking around in your house. It seems to be much the bigger trip. But in fact, it's the same. It's just movement. In this very moment, what is it that's unmoved? That does not move, that does not come and go? It is there, completely available to us as what we are. The transparency of being. Not something we perceive, but that I am. Not I as a man or I as a woman, but the I that has no name, no label, no age, no gender, no birth, no death. That I. The I of consciousness, awareness, beingness, presence.
Thank you.
Okay, Suzanne. Hello, Rhonda, you ask a question. You write, hello, how do you go about placing the attention on the on the knower instead of the different arising objects, thoughts, and so on? Do you do that by asking questions or by remembering that you are the knower? It depends, Rhonda. It depends. Initially, we forget a lot about what I am, and we get very sucked into, I am great, I am bad, I am good, I am beautiful, I am fat, I am intelligent, into the thinking and the imaging and the mind. But as we continue to Well, satsang is a very good reminder. And also our contemplation, our own contemplation of what am I truly? It depends on what is resonating for you in your life right now. What am I truly is a very good reminder. But you have to just stay with that. Let that question sort of reverberate in the silence, in the space, in the stillness. What am I truly? Am I that appears? And just let that question hang. I don't know. It's okay not to know. Not to know is a step forward from all the baggage of knowing, all our beliefs. I don't know. I don't know what I am. But I know I am. Yes, I know I am. Whatever I is, I don't know, but I know I am. I know there is some reality, because this, even if this is a dream, there is a reality to this dream. And I know I am. I know there is a reality, some reality, and I know I am. There cannot be two realities. There cannot be the reality of I am and reality B. There is one reality. We know intuitively that there is one reality. We cannot prove it. We can reason about it, and if need be, at some time, we can do that exercise. But for now, let's just stay with, we know there is one reality. And we know I am, and we know there is a reality. And we know that this I am is aware. I'm aware. This could be a dream, what I'm perceiving, but there is awareness of this. And there is awareness of being aware. I'm aware that I'm aware. If you bring all of these together, that I am, no doubt. I am aware, no doubt. I'm aware that I'm aware. Awareness is aware of itself, no doubt. There is one reality. Then this one reality is I/awareness, beingness, Satchitananda. So coming back to your question, it depends what, there isn't like one answer to your question, do this to remind yourself that you are the knower and not the known. Do just this exercise. It depends what resonates for you at that moment. But the contemplation of what am I truly, or what is the reality of my experience, is a very good contemplation. What is it? Am I that is perceived? What am I truly? What is this infinite invisible that perceives but is not perceived? What is the real I, the true I? Rhonda, you write in the night dream, there is also the asking of this question, what am I? Well, if that question arises in your night dream, that's very good. Usually, that would be I hesitate to say that, but I will say it anyways. That would be more of an advanced. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. If the contemplation is arising in your night dream, that's very good. The contemplation usually, or always, with rare exceptions, is in the waking state. And also as you're going to sleep and as you're waking up from sleep, as you're starting to dissolve, the world, body, mind are dissolving, and as the world, body, mind are being downloaded. So the moments in the evening when you're in bed and starting to dissolve, or in the morning when you're starting to form, also these are times to contemplate what is the reality, what is it that is real, what am I truly, what is consciousness, what is awareness. See, I use the term awareness and consciousness simultaneously. I don't distinguish between them. So yes, if the question arises at night, that's fine, Rhonda. There is another question that was sent to me by Esther. Hello, Esther. So Esther, you write, hi, Magdi. Please speak to allowing or leaning into intolerable feelings. It feels counterintuitive to me, like turning into a skid on an icy road. My path has been the way of abidance through self-inquiry and allowing unreal feelings to dissolve that way. Rupert's meditations and you speak to the way of allowing whatever. I deeply sense that one can be more engaged in the world, but not of it, with this allowing. My question is, in your experience, where is consciousness when allowing is going on? Well, it is consciousness that is allowing, and there is no location to consciousness. Consciousness is. So when, in terms of your question, where is consciousness when allowing is going on, it is consciousness that is doing the allowing. Allowing is that very consciousness. Allowing is consciousness, is already naturally allowing, effortlessly. I'm continuing with your question. The only way I can do this is to at least be a watcher from a place of awareness. How do you actually do this? It feels like I will be swept away sometimes. Okay, Esther, about intolerable feelings, a feeling is a resistance or a seeking that is reverberating in the body as a sensation. So a feeling is a resistance, I don't want that, or seeking, oh, why are things like this? I wish it could be that way. I want it to be that way. And this resistance and seeking goes into the body, and the resistance and the feeling arise, and the resistance and the seeking arise from the personal self. They are the personal self. The personal self is this resistance and this seeking. When I say the personal self, meaning the belief that I am a form, that I am a body-mind form. So there is the belief that I am a body-mind form, and then there is resistance and seeking after that belief, as a result of that belief. And there is the sensation, which we refer to as the feeling in the body. So the feeling is actually a sensation with a me in it. How allowing, okay, the allowing of that, first you need to understand, Esther, that it's already happening. So in a way, it's already allowed. Consciousness has already said, okay, well, that's the game. So it's already happening. Allowing refers to not adding another resistance, not going into, oh, why is this happening to me? This should not be happening to me. I am a meditator and I should be experiencing bliss. All of that would be adding another layer of resistance to what already is a feeling. And that would only make it worse. So allowing is a form of recognition that it's okay. That's what's happening. And it's all right. I can experience that. No problem. I've experienced it before. I can experience that again. And at the same time, rather than experiencing this unhappy sensation as a person, invite this sensation, this feeling, to expand into the space of presence. So that's the added step here. The added step in allowing is to invite the thoughts and the sensations to their complete freedom. Invite them to just be like a flock of birds is flying by. Some may land here, some may land there, some may not land at all. You are impartial with them and you're inviting, you're not calling them to come to you, you're just inviting them to be in your complete freedom. Because invitation or allowing is unconditional. You're not going to invite somebody and say, well, here are the conditions. No, inviting, you have to genuinely invite. You say, welcome. You open the door, you say, please come in. Because they want to come in. Right? So it's something is arising, a certain sensation is arising that you don't like. And you're feeling it. You can feel it. Believe me, you can feel it. It's not going to kill you. Let it, give it its complete freedom. If it wants to kill you, let it kill you. It's not going to actually kill you. It's going to be really, really fine. It is our resistance that maintains them and that exacerbates them and that deepens their root within us at the feeling level. When we are struggling with our feelings, we don't want to feel this way, we want to feel a different way. Oh, why am I feeling like this and she's not feeling like that? When we are into that complaining, feeling, whining, we are fortifying the feeling. We are giving more and more food and roots to those feelings. And when we are completely welcoming, we already have recognized our innate freedom. And no harm will arise to us. We will find ourselves on the other side of these feelings, perfectly fine, having learned at a deeper level that all is well. Maybe initially it feels counterproductive, but the more you try it, the more you relax into being, the more rewarding and the more easier and it will be. Okay, you say, where is consciousness when allowing is going on? Consciousness is everywhere and everywhere and everything and nowhere and nothing. The only way I can do this is to be a watcher from a place of awareness. The watcher is the awareness itself. So you recognize yourself not as a watcher, a limited watcher. You are awareness itself. Awareness is knowing. It is knowingness. It doesn't need to watch. It is isness. And nothing appears and arises without awareness. So don't be the watcher, be the aware space rather than a watcher in the space. Be the entire aware space, free, completely free. You say, how do you actually do this? Okay, it feels like I will be swept away sometimes. Well, let yourself be swept away. So what? Let it, whatever is going to be swept away is, what is the expression? Sweepable away. Otherwise, whatever is swept away is meant to be swept away. What you are cannot be swept away. What you believe yourself to be, well, let that be swept away. Don't hold on to your beliefs or your images or your feelings about yourself. Let them be swept away. What is swept away is false. What remains is real. Okay, Esther, I hope this answers your question. Yes, one love, Ichant, yes, indeed.
Hi, Maggie.
Hello, Ananda.
So I tend to ask the actually pressing question in the moment, even if it's a little embarrassing. But here, I found that I have had this idea that to find a wonderful
Yeah.
To find a wonderful partner, they would need to be somebody who has some background in Advaita, or who would understand this conversation, for example. And then it occurred to me that I'm not giving it occurred to me that I was thinking that way because I thought it would be helpful to me. It would be helpful to have somebody like that in close proximity. And then I realize maybe I'm looking from an old paradigm. It's like, does it really make what difference does it really make? Something like that. Not that it wouldn't be a good thing. I mean, it would be a wonderful thing. It would be a beautiful thing, because satsang is always beautiful. But from a broader perspective, somehow, like, everything is it. You know what I mean? Everything is myself, and does it really matter?
Well, you don't want to be with somebody who maybe plays music all day that sounds really bad for your ear.
that I don't like, right?
Or with somebody who likes to have a lifestyle that doesn't speak to you.
Right, right.
But before I go into that, I'd like to say that let them find you. Let you be found.
Oh,
That's a good one.
To be found. And let finding find you. Let it find you. Until then,
that's a good one.
You are not finding that that deep resonance.
Right.
Relationship. It's meant to be this way. There is something in there for you, Ananda. Maybe it is telling you, hey, relax, man. Stop looking and seeking, because this is what you're being served. Or you're not being served at all. Trust God, trust the universe, trust the infinite invisible, trust the magic. Don't just rely on the mind. Go to the mystery. Go to that defies the mind, that's beyond the mind. Invite that, tell that, yes to that, yes to you, yes to the magic, yes to the mystery. Not yes to the magic, yes to the mystery, when are you going to be delivering to me this and that. that is the mind. That is, I need total trust. That there is something at play that is not at all at the mind level. That is like the candle, and what is at play is the sun. Let's not compare. Not even, you can't even talk about it. I mean, it's ridiculous to talk about a candle when we in comparison to the sun. You can't start. What comparison? There's no comparison. You have to trust it that way. And your life will continue to reflect your lack of trust or your trust. When you are not looking, it is looking for you, because there is only one reality. There isn't a personal reality that is looking. There is only God's vision and God's looking. There is only one looking. And it's when you are not looking that there is the seeing.
Fabulous.
The impression of personhood interferes with your universal reality, your universal truth, the truth of being, the infinite abundance of the self. It diminished and reduced to personal endeavors and personal doings, failures and successes, all mind. So invite God's grace just by recognizing that, and you can sort of direct it in a very not with any hint of a personal desire. You have to be really watchful. You can invite it in a certain direction. Say, okay, shed the light in that direction. I am yours, but not any personal desire, and be ready to be surprised.
Like in a broader category, like it's exactly in terms of relationship, in terms of life unfolding in terms of this, the whole thing?
It can be very, very specific.
Huh? Mm.
It can be very specific, and at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
it is loving. It's grander. It's grander.
Yes, without a narrow focus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so it's it's like, let's say you have some difficulty with a certain relationship at work,
Mm-hmm.
and so you invite God's grace to that. So you take it where you know, I can sense the let's say the danger, but you solve it. You solve it, but I'm I completely love you, and not I love you because you're going to solve my problem, but I just love you, trust you, I know you. You have to get a sense of that infinite invisible. In this very moment, what are you? Allow that to be. It is already. It's everything. Everything. It's everything and everywhere. And that is, allow reality to be without your interference. Just recognize it, love it. It is love. It is love itself. If you have love, what else do you need? I'm not talking about loving somebody. Love. What else you need? Everything you have love. Everything is love. Everything you experience is love. Everything that you touch is love. Everything that that's magical. That's how you find yourself celebrating a relationship. Not because you need the love, but because you are the love. And then magically, love will appear to you in your life in so many forms, so many ways. So many ways. But it's not an object. It rises. It may take a form, but that form is love itself. It's not separate from your very self. So you can contemplate that, in fact, nothing is separate from your very self right now. What is separate? What is separate from you right now? From I, from what I am. Not what's separate from my foot or from my hand or from my belly or my back or my table or my, no. From what I, this very moment, what I refers to. What is separate from I? You can't, even a thought is not separate from I. Or any perception is not separate from I. Any bodily sensation is not separate from I. You cannot find being separate from I. So what are you missing? What is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, I guess companionship, I guess I would say.
Yeah, right. So you have moved away from what we are talking about that nothing is separate from you.
Yes, right.
You go to, well, when you say I'm looking for companionship, at that moment, the I looking for companionship is not the I that we were just speaking about right now.
Right.
It is a different I. It is some old download. It's like it's something that has been downloaded from you that needs something. I need companionship.
Yeah, yeah. I like this, the vastness that you point to. You said something grander, like a kind of the vastness of love, and which is my nature. I can see that because I've been trying to wean myself away from, obsessions, fixations about how things are, how things play out, the world, and I've been trying to say, well, let's just go back to just settle back into the one thing that's real. But that was still like an idea of me, like I want to set back into me, but the setting back into is universal. It's you're setting back into limitless. So.
Simply notice awareness, presence. Awareness, presence, noticing itself. Don't try to settle into just go directly, just sit for a moment, just be. Don't try to settle into anything or over something, or I don't know, whatever you are saying. Just be. Just experience being, and ask yourself, what is this transparency? Where do I start? Where do I end? Where am I? What am I truly? Imagine yourself like you're looking from a foot behind your head, behind yourself. You're looking not from your eyes or from your face. You're looking from the space. Is space like, as you can start with, like if it's behind you, but it's space like perceiving as a spacious, borderless perceiving. It's alive. It's real time. It's not settling back into. It's just real time presence. Keep going to real time being. Just be. Just go back to it. And being, notice that being, you don't know where it starts, where it ends. Where can you say right now where you start and where you end? Where this being, this awareness starts and ends. You can't find any. You can't find any edges to it, any form to it, any shape to it. Notice that it pervades everything. That everything is pervaded by awareness. Everything is embraced by awareness. Everything. There's nothing that is outside of awareness. And that the I, what I refers to, is this effortless, borderless presence, awareness, beingness, empty and yet so full. Whenever there's something lacking, you've gone into some mental realm. And whenever you're trying to fix something, you are in that mental realm. Peace, freedom, transparency, beingness is truth, is universal self, universal true nature. It's not personal true nature. Nature across the board, only one reality.
By comparison, these concerns are like Lego, Lego constructions. It's
yes. Yes. And at the feeling level, expand your body, Ananda. Don't just be the body. Invite the body to expand. To expand in the space, to expand. So the room is contained in your body. And everybody in the room is contained in you. And expand yourself beyond what you perceive. The whole world is contained in you. Galaxies contained in you. In your body, you have to go to the sensory level. Expand your body. Expand your shoulders, your belly. The front of your face, expand it so that it touches the wall and goes through the wall in front of you. And your head, the rear of your head, and all the sides of your head, allow them to expand it, so that your head is this whole house, this whole building, this whole space, this whole earth. And expansion without borders. So invite your body to expand, and don't remain a physical form.
Right. Let the feeling level share the intuitive knowing that I have. Yeah. Yes. Well, that's very great.
Okay. Okay. Did we start at 5? Yes, we started at 5. Okay. So maybe are there any other questions? Hello, Steve. Yes. Okay. So I would thank you all for your company and your love, and it's lovely meeting together.
Thank you, Magdi.
Wish you all a lot of love. Yes, good to see you, Steve. And blessings to you all. And we'll see you soon, yes? Okay. Namaste.